Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. On the show today, we have but one story to share. It comes from the Old Time Radio Archive and Lux Radio Theater. Lux was indisputably the biggest, most important, most expensive drama anthology program on radio. It ran from 1934 until 1955, and then continued on television until 1957. In all, some 926 episodes were broadcast, providing a record of the most important entertainment events in history. Lux Radio Theater was always broadcast live, with a studio audience and a full orchestra. As many film actors were used to numerous takes and not live performance, they sometimes suffered from acute stage fright before the show. However, since most received $5,000 for their performance, in addition to free publicity for upcoming pictures, actors came anyway and did their best. Mostly they were asked to recreate performances from past films. The plays were assembled and rehearsed for a full week. Our story today is a good one, and I have to admit that I had a false impression about it. I always thought that the Thin Man series of stories was about a hard-boiled detective and a menacing anti-hero. That's not the case. The Thin Man is a 1934 comedy mystery film directed by W.S. Van Dyke and based on the novel of the same name by Dashiell Hammett. You know, the guy that created the hard-boiled detective? Think Maltese Falcon here. There were a total of 6 films made in the Thin Man series. The production stars William Powell and Myrna as Nick and Nora Charles. Nick is a retired private detective who left his very successful career when he married Nora, a wealthy heiress accustomed to high society. The Thin Man is not Nick Charles, but the man he is initially hired to find. There are murders for Nick to solve and mysteries to find the answers to. All in all, it is a great story with some really wonderful dialogue. Now the good news. The radio version is as good, if not a bit better, than the theatrical release. It stars all the same actors and even has the same director. Win-win. The bad news is that the recording is from June 8th, 1936. As you can imagine, the tech back then was a bit sketchy, and as I mentioned, it was recorded live. So, I did some editing and restored much of its clarity. I think you're really going to enjoy this story. Take special note that there is some really entertaining dialogue to be had, but also note that during the performances, the audience mics are turned off, so there is no accompanying laugh track. But funny is still funny. Please enjoy The Thin Man, starring William Powell.
Lux Radio Theater, presented from its new home on Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, California. Lux presents Hollywood. Such great personalities as William Powell, Myrna Loy, W.S. Van Dyke, Theda Bara, James Seymour, Minna Gamble, Porter Hall, and many others will take part in this presentation sent to you by the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, the beauty soap of the stars. Appearing before a distinguished Hollywood audience, Mr. Powell, Miss Loy, and a cast of 18 great players present the play that has broken box office records from coast to coast, The Thin Man. And as producer tonight, we present the director who did The Thin Man on the screen, together with such triumphs as Naughty Marietta, Trader Horn, Rosemarie, I Live My Life, and countless other smash hit pictures. Mr. W.S. Van Dyke. Mr. Van Dyke.
Hello, everybody. Well, it's a great scene at the Lux Radio Theater tonight. In our audience, we have Betty Davis, Jimmy and Lucille Gleason, Bob Armstrong, Ole Olson of Olson and Johnson, Stu Irwin, Jimmy Starr, famous communist, Evelyn Venable, Mr. and Mrs. Leon Schlesinger. Maybe it would interest you a little inside information on the show we're doing tonight, The Thin Man, and about William Powell and Myrna Loy, who are going to do it for you. As you know, The Thin Man was a best-selling novel by Dashiell Hammett. Hans Stromberg, down at the studio, MGM, got hold of it and brought it to me. Woody said, if you'll make this picture, I'll buy the story. Well, I read it, and while it was a good enough mystery story, there was something else about the book that struck me. Here was something new and fresh and very charming. A romance between a man and his wife. It's a story of a couple of kids that understood each other and had a blessed confidence in each other. Beneath all the casualness and all the wisecracking, there's a lovely, wholesome relationship. Something really deep and sweet and inspiring. Well, we decided to make the picture. Albert Hackett and Francis Goodrich wrote a swell script. William Powell and Myrna Loy played the parts. And how? They played them beautifully, because Powell was just Powell and Loy was just Loy. Both of them wisecracking all the time and flouting right through the picture. I suppose you know that plenty of motion pictures take from 2 months to a year to shoot. We did The Thin Man in 16 days, retakes and all. Of course, it wasn't a pretentious picture. We didn't make it as one. I hate epics. But it is evident that people liked it. It has been very interesting to study out how they could tell this story on the radio. Bill and Myrna have had a lot of fun getting it ready for you, just as they did making the picture. And from the original story, from the original motion picture cast, we have, and are fortunate in having, Minna Gamble, Porter Hall, William Henry, and Thomas Jackson here tonight. So here we go, with William Powell and Nick Charles, and Myrna Loy as Nora in The Thin Man. Here they come, Bill Powell and Myrna Loy. We're in a fashionable cafe, Montmartre, New York City. It's Christmas Eve, and the well-appointed dining room is filling rapidly. From the bar comes a good-looking young fellow of about 35, tall, casual, and worldly wise. He's Nick Charles, the well-known private detective, played by William Powell. And he's waiting for his charming wife, Nora, played by Myrna Loy. As he takes his place at the table, a young girl on the other side of the room recognizes him and hurries over.
Aren't you Mr. Nick Charles, the detective?
Yes, I'm Nick Charles.
I thought I recognized you. My name is Dorothy Winans.
Oh, yes? How do you do?
Do you mind if I sit down for a moment?
No, but I'm expecting my wife in a few minutes. You don't mind explaining your presence to her?
Oh, of course. That's my fiancé over there at the other table.
Oh, well, that makes everything all right, doesn't it? Sit down.
Thank you.
Your name is,
Dorothy Winans. I'm Clyde Winans' daughter.
Clyde Winans. Oh, yes, of course. Your father was having some trouble about one of his inventions a few years ago. I handled the case for him.
I know. That's why I want to speak to you now.
Oh. Well, I'm not practicing anymore, Miss Winans. You see, I've retired.
Please, Mr. Charles. I need you.
Oh. What seems to be the trouble?
It's Dad. He went away about 3 months ago, and I haven't heard from him. Not a word. I'm worried sick.
Oh, I wouldn't if I were you. After all, he's an inventor. He gets an idea he wants to work on. It's only natural that he should hide away somewhere. He's done it before.
Yes, but never for 3 months.
Did you see him before he left?
No. Mr. Macaulay was the only one he spoke to. Well, Macaulay and Julia Wolfe. She's Dad's secretary.
Julia Wolfe. Yes, I believe I've met her. Macaulay is your father's lawyer, isn't he?
Yes.
His lawyer and his secretary both speak to him before he leaves, but no one knows where he went.
He wouldn't tell them.
What about your mother? He wouldn't tell her either?
No, Mother and Dad aren't... They haven't seen each other for some time.
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know just what I can do for you. Why don't you speak to Macaulay? Maybe he's heard from your father and forgotten to let you know.
Oh, well, I'll call him now.
That's the girl. Let me know how it turns out, will you?
Of course. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'll be here.
Madam, you can't bring that dog in here. Dogs aren't allowed. I'm sorry, madam.
I'll be here. Aster. Aster, come here, boy. Here. Down, boy.
But, madam,
down.
it isn't only your dog. We allowed everyone.
Oh, here you are.
Aster. Quiet, Aster. Quiet. Hello, Nora. I hear you brought the dog.
I didn't bring him. He brought me. I think the doorman's mad, Nick.
Madam, I'm afraid you'll have to take the dog outside.
It's all right, Joe. It's my dog and my wife.
You might have mentioned me first.
But, Mr. Charles, are you sure that...
Of course I'm sure. He's well trained. He'll behave himself.
nobody might bite someone.
No. Only me, Joe. He only bites me.
Yes, he's fussy about what he eats.
Go ahead, Joe. I'll be responsible for him.
Very well, sir. If you say so.
There you are, my dear. See what an influential husband you've got?
You do stand in the door, man. Mr. Charles.
Oh, yes, Dorothy?
May I introduce my fiancé, Andy Reed, Mr. Charles?
How do you do? How do you do, sir? Any luck, Dorothy?
Yes, he's just around the corner.
Your father?
No, Mr. McCauley.
going to see him now.
Oh, fine.
Nick?
Yes, my dear? Oh, I beg your pardon. Miss Wynant, Mr. Reed, my wife.
How do you do? I'm sorry we have to rush, but you'll excuse us, Mr. Charles. Of course.
We're at Normandy for a couple of weeks. Why don't you drop around?
Thanks, we will. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, sir. Goodbye, Mr. Charles.
Goodbye. Pretty girl.
You like blondes.
You got tight?
Only you, darling. Lanky brunettes with wicked jaws.
Who is she?
Dorothy Wynant, daughter of Clyde Wynant. I worked on a case for her father. Some nut wanted to kill him.
Charming. What's the matter now?
Wynant disappeared. I was afraid something happened to him.
Has anything happened to him?
My darling wife. How do I know? Funny, though. That secretary of his ought to know something.
Secretaries usually do. Who is she?
Julia Wolfe. Smart girl, Julia. I always suspected she had some kind of hold on Wynant, and that's why he kept her on.
Maybe you ought to give her a ring.
What for?
Oh, just to say hello.
Maybe.
Want a nickel?
No, I've got one. I'll be right back. Hello? I want Skylar, 40962. No, Skylar. That's right. 409.
Hello? Yes, Julie Wolfe speaking. Who? Oh, hello, Mr. Charles. Yes? What was it you wanted to... Oh, no, I don't. He didn't tell me. Not a word. I'm sorry. Well, that's all right. Goodbye. Morelli.
Coming. Well, who was that?
Nick Charles.
The detective?
He wanted to know where Wynant was.
Oh, yeah? Why?
He didn't say.
Did anyone see Wynant come here that night? The night you and him had the scrap?
I don't know.
Oh, no? Well, I guess I'll scram.
Wait a minute, Morelli. Where are you going?
Oh, taking a little stroll, that's all. If Nick Charles is going to pop up around here, I want to be far away when he does.
Oh, don't be a fool, Morelli.
Fool, huh? Hey, listen, sister, I got a record 9 itching to come face to face with no dick.
Sit down, Morelli. You need money, don't you?
Yeah. What about it? You got some?
Plenty. I'm Wynant's secretary.
Oh, yeah? What do you mean by that?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Your friend Pierre serves good dinners, Nick.
All right.
You still didn't tell me what Julia Wolfe had to say.
Nothing. She didn't know where he was, that's all. Finished?
Finished?
Let's get out. We'll grab a cab and get back to the hotel.
Ready and willing. Where's my purse? Come on, Esther.
Joe, call me cab.
Hello? Hello? Esther, be quiet. Stop it. Hello? Yes? Who is it? Miss... Oh, he is. I see. Thank you. Oh, Nick.
Yeah?
It's Mr. McCauley. He's on his way up.
Call, I wonder what he wants.
Isn't he Wynant's lawyer?
Yeah?
Maybe he's got some news.
Well, he ought... Say, you're worrying an awful lot about this business. Forget it.
I'll open it. I'm Mrs. Charles. Come in, Mrs. Charles.
Hello, McCauley.
Hello, Charles. Well, how are you?
Fine. Sit down.
Thanks. Dorothy told me you were here. I took the liberty of coming to see you.
Of course.
Charles, what's Mimi up to?
Mimi? Oh, Dorothy's mother. Does she have to be up to something?
She usually is, trying one way or another to get money out of Wynant. I wanted to find out if you were, sleuthing for her.
I haven't been a detective 4 years.
Oh, you don't say.
Oh, my wife's father died and left her a lumber mill, a narrow gauge railroad, and, a couple of other things. I'm looking after them.
I see.
What's all the fuss about? Is Wynant in hiding?
Yeah, you know as much about it as I do. I haven't seen him in 3 months. He sends word through Julia Wolf when he wants money. I give it to her. He gives it to him.
Mine? Hello? Oh, just a moment, please. It's for you, Mr. McCauley. Your office.
Oh, thank you. Hello? What? He is? Oh, where is he? Oh, very well. Well, he's back in town.
Mr. Wynant?
Yes, thank heaven. He's waiting for me now. Well, I've got to rush. I'll tell you, it's no joke working for a man like that. Oh, goodbye, Mr. Charles. Goodbye, Charles.
So long.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you. $11:30. Almost Christmas, darling.
If that's a hint, you can drop it. You get your present at breakfast, not a minute before.
Beef. You know, Nick, I've been thinking. It's funny the way Wynant popped up all of a sudden.
Yes. Wasn't it?
You think there's anything behind it?
Why should there be?
I don't know. It just strikes me as being funny, that's all. You're nearer than I am, darling.
Hello? Speaking. Oh, hello, Dorothy. What? What? When? Oh, I see. Well, yes, of course I'll be here.
What is it, darling? Darling, what is it?
Julia Wolf has just been murdered.
An hour has gone by since Nick heard about the murder of Julia Wolf. In the living room of their suite at the hotel, Nick and Nora are listening to the radio. A news reporter is broadcasting the latest developments of the case.
And here's the latest news of the Julia Wolf murder. The police have found out that the beautiful blonde secretary was the gangster's girl who's spreading the dragnet for one Joe Morelli, said to be hiding out somewhere in the city. In Paris today, the Chamber of Deputies...
Never mind the Chamber of Deputies. Joe Morelli, that's what I want to know about. Well, did you get any more information out of headquarters?
As much as they had. Julia Wolf was shot and killed about 9 or 9:30. Body discovered on the floor of her living room a little after 11.
Who discovered it?
That'll surprise you. Mimi Wynant.
Dorothy's mother?
Right.
What was she doing there?
I don't know.
Where's Clyde Wynant?
Still missing.
Missing? But Macaulay was going to see him. They had an appointment.
I spoke to Macaulay. Wynant never showed up. Nobody knows where he is.
It's going to be pretty tough on Dorothy, isn't it?
Meaning what?
Meaning that it looks as if Clyde Wynant skipped one appointment in order to keep another with Julia Wolf.
You think he killed her?
Oh, it's just a guess. You're the detective around here, darling.
Oh, that's Dorothy. Said you wanted to see me. Yeah, come in, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Is anyone here?
Miss Nora, have a seat.
Oh. Hello, Dorothy. I'm sorry for breaking in on you like this. Oh, that's all right. We're used to it.
Anything wrong?
Julia Wolf is dead.
Yes, we know that.
Here's the gun she was shot with.
What are you trying to tell me? That you did it?
Yes. I hated her. She kept me from seeing my father. I went down there to ask her where he was. She wouldn't tell me. I shot her.
Where did you hit her?
Why, in the heart.
Pretty good shot you are. What did she do?
She fell down.
Did she make any sound? Didn't scream?
I don't know.
Which way did she fall?
She fell over backwards.
Oh, yes? People fall toward a shot, you know, not back from it. I knew you were lying.
Oh.
All right, come on, now, brace up. Where did you get this gun?
I bought it in a pawn shop.
I thought so. Why did you say you did it? Whom are you trying to shield?
Oh, please, don't ask me.
You got to tell me.
Nick, let me handle this, will you? Dorothy, look at me. Nick is trying to help you. Why don't you help him? You were trying to shield your mother, weren't you?
No.
Your father, then. Dorothy.
Yes. My father.
Why do you think he did it?
Mother was the first one to find Julia Wolf. She saw something in Julia's hand and she took it.
What was it?
A watch chain. It belonged to my father.
So you think your father did it?
I don't know.
Did your mother turn the chain over to the police?
No, she kept it. She didn't tell them anything about it.
But she showed it to you?
Yes.
Why did your mother go to Julia Wolf's apartment in the first place?
She went to ask for money.
Oh, money again, huh? Yes? Oh, have them come up, please.
Who is it?
Dorothy, I wonder if you'd mind waiting in the bedroom.
Of course.
It'll be only a minute.
Well, Nick?
Mimi Wyman.
Alone?
She's never alone. Dorothy's brother is with her. Screwy college kid. And some guy by the name of Chris Jorgensen.
Jorgensen? Who's he?
McCauley told me about him. A hanger-on type. I think he's after Mimi's dough.
But she hasn't any.
Maybe that's why she wanted to get some from Julia. I'll take it. Hello.
Nick, how are you?
Fine. Come in, Mimi.
Thank you, Nick. This is my son, Gilbert.
How are you? Very well, thank you.
And Mr. Chris Jorgensen. He's an old friend of mine.
How do you do? How do you do? Sit down. Sit down. My wife. Mrs. Wynant, Gilbert Wynant, and Mr. Jorgensen.
How do you do?
Well, Mimi?
Nick, I've never been in such a state in my life. You know, of course, that I was the one who found Julia Wolf.
So we've heard.
Oh, my dear, it was terrible. I walked in and there she was, lying dead on the floor.
I meant to ask you, Mother, was there much blood?
Gilbert, don't be so morbid.
But I'm interested in murders. You know, Mr. Charles, I formed a theory about this one already.
That's so.
In my opinion, the man who did it...
Gilbert, be quiet. You don't know anything about it.
Oh, but I do.
Be quiet.
You were saying, Mrs. Wynan?
About finding Julia Wolf. I was simply petrified, and such a mystery. Clyde Winan's crazy, absolutely crazy to stay away at a time like this. No wonder the police think he had something to do with it.
What do you think?
Oh, I know he didn't, but I wish I could find him. I have something very important to tell him. Macaulay won't help at all. He thinks I just want money.
Well, don't you?
Oh, Nick, you're always teasing.
Mrs. Wyman, were you alone when you found Julia Wolf?
Why, of course I was.
Wasn't Mr. Jorgensen with you?
I? Certainly not. I don't know anything about it. The first word I had that Julia Wolf was dead was when Mrs. Wyman called me at my club.
Oh, she called you?
Yes.
Why?
I beg your pardon.
Oh, let's not even talk about it. The thing to do is to find Clyde. And that's what I've come to you for, Nick. You will help me find him, won't you?
I'm afraid I can't, Mimi.
Oh, Nick, please.
Now, Mimi, there are 1,000 detectives in New York. Hire one of them.
But Clyde knows you. All you have to do is to get in touch with him and tell him that Mimi says everything is all right, but that I've got to see him.
I tell you again, I don't want any part of it.
Is that final?
Final.
Well, if that's the way you feel.
He'll turn up. You just help all you can. Give the police every possible assistance.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, nothing in particular.
Oh. Well, we'll say good night.
Good night. I'm sorry I can't help you, Mimi.
Hello. Is this the Normandy Hotel? I want to speak to Mr. Charles. Yeah, Nick Charles. Hello, Mr. Charles. Say, I'm sorry I woke you up. But, Mr. Charles, I'd like to lay a proposition before you. It's about the murder of Julia Wolf. Well, what's the difference who I am? Wait a minute. All right. Wait a minute. Don't hang up. I'll tell you who I am. But you got to keep it under your hat. I'm Al Nunheim. Yeah, Nunheim. Now listen. I know who murdered Julia Wolf, see? Sure I do. And I'll spill it to you for $5,000. I'll tell you how I know. Because I was outside of her apartment when she was shot. And I saw the one who did it. And I'll spill it to you when I get... Hey, wait a minute. Hey, I can't talk now. I'll call you again.
Hello? Hello? Hello, are you still there? Hello? Well, what's up?
Now what's on?
I don't know. Some crank, I guess. He hung up. You better get back to bed and get some sleep.
Nick, are you asleep?
Yes.
Good. I want to talk to you.
That's jolly.
Don't you think you'd like to go back to detecting once in a while just for the fun of it?
Can't you get to sleep?
No. Everybody says you were a grand detective.
They were kidding you.
I'd like to see you work.
Tomorrow I'll buy you a whole lot of detective stories.
Oh, that poor girl's in an awful spot.
There's nothing I can do to help her.
She thinks you can. It wouldn't hurt you to find out if you could, would it?
Darling, my guess is that Wynant killed Julia and Dorothy knows it. And the police will catch him without my help. Now, please put out the light. I'm tired.
Oh, all right. I'm mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear a knock?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Astor. You want to answer it, Nick?
Oh, good Lord.
All right, stay in bed. I'll do it myself. Well?
Mr. Charles here.
Yes?
I gotta talk to him right away.
What about?
What's going on? What's going on?
There's someone to see you, Nick.
That's great. I was afraid I'd have to go to sleep. Come in.
Yeah.
How about a chair, Mr.
Stay where you are, both of you. I got you covered, so don't move.
A stick-up.
No, it ain't a stick-up. I gotta talk to you, Mr. Charles. I want you to tell me something, and I want you to give it to me straight. You get me?
Do you mind putting that gun down? My wife doesn't care, but I'm a very nervous person. Thank you. All right, shoot. What's on your mind?
You don't need to tell me you're tough. I heard about you. I'm Joe Morelli.
I've never heard about you.
I didn't bump off Julia.
All right, you didn't.
I haven't seen her in 3 months. We were all washed up.
Why tell me?
I wouldn't have any reason to hurt her. She was always on the up and up with me. But that dirty little rat, Nunheim, well, he got sore because she liked me and hated him. So he put the finger on me.
That's all very swell, brother, only you're peddling your fish in the wrong market. I've had nothing to do with it.
Now, listen. The boys used to say that you were okay, a square guy. Now, that's why I'm here. What's the law doing to me? Do they think I did it? Or is it just something else to pin on me?
I'd tell you if I knew, but I'm not in on this. Ask the police.
Now, that'd be very smart. The boys would love to have me come in and ask questions. They'd like it right down to the end of their blackjacks. Now, I came to you on the level. The boys say you're on the level. Be on the level.
I'm on the level. If I knew anything, I'd...
Who's that?
I don't know. This is your party.
Open up. Open up. This is the police. The police? You dirty two-timer.
Look out, Nora.
Oh!
Give me that gun.
You rat, I'll show you.
Drop that gun. Drop it.
You'll double cross me, will you?
Come on, drop it. Give it to me. Give me the gun.
Grab it. Let me go. Let me go, I said. I'll take that gun.
Thanks, officer. You almost had me.
Get some water, Joe.
Nora. Are you all right? Nora.
I'm Inspector Gill of the Homicide Squad.
You're in a good place, Inspector.
Who's that woman on the floor?
My wife. This guy shoot her?
No, he tried to shoot me. I socked her on the jaw to get her out of the line of fire. I guess I hit her too hard. Nora.
Oh.
Look at me, Nora. Are you all right, darling?
Oh. You darn fool. You didn't have to knock me out. I knew you'd take him, but I wanted to see you do it.
She's all right.
Okay, Slattery. Take Morelli downstairs.
Don't push. I take that.
How'd you people have to pop in, Inspector?
We hear this is getting to be a sort of a meeting place for the Winant family. So we figured we'd stick around in case the old man himself shows up. Then we seen Morelli sneak in, and we decided to come up. And it was pretty lucky for you, too.
Yeah.
Morelli a friend of yours?
I never saw him before.
What's he want of you?
Wanted to tell me he didn't kill Julia Wolf.
What's that to you?
Nothing.
What did he think it was to you?
Ask him. I don't know.
I'm asking you.
Keep on asking.
Oh, so you're going to keep mum, huh? All right, Mr. Charles. I won't bother you tonight, but I'll be in tomorrow morning, and I'll have plenty of things to ask. Good night.
Thank you, Inspector Guild. Next time you come, try to stay longer. Nick, wake up. It's Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
Look, here's a telegram for you. It just came.
Open it, will you? Probably a touch from somebody. Well,
Nick,
what is it?
it's from Clyde Winans. Listen. Will you take charge of investigation on Julia Wolf murder? Communicate with Herbert Macaulay. Clyde Winans.
Where's it from?
Philadelphia. Then he didn't do it, did he, Nick?
I don't know. Communicate with Macaulay, huh? All right, we'll ask him up here this morning.
There you are, Macaulay. What do you think?
He wants you to handle the case, huh?
Yes.
Well, what are the chances of you doing it?
Slim.
Oh, please, Nick.
Quiet, dear.
I wish you would, Mr. Charles. Would it help any if I could persuade him to meet you?
You might.
I had word from Winant myself last night. He gave me a code message to insert in the newspapers in case I wanted to get in touch with him.
Wouldn't do any harm. Put it in.
I'm sure you could clear this up. Oh, Winant will only come back. It doesn't look well he's staying away at a time like this.
Yes? Oh, just a minute. For you, Mr. Macaulay. Police department.
Police department? Hello? Where? In Allentown. Yes. Well, when's the next train? Right. I'll get that.
Well?
Winant's tried to commit suicide. They want me to go down and identify him. Well, I guess this changes the whole story, doesn't it? That looks like an admission of guilt. Well, I had such hopes. I thought if you got on this case... Well, it's no use thinking about it now. Well, I'm sorry to have wasted so much of your time. You'll excuse me, won't you?
Of course.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, that's that. A finish.
What's the matter with you?
All the mystery's all gone. And I wanted you to find out who did it.
Maybe I will.
But Winans.
I don't believe he did it.
Why don't you?
No reason. Just a hunch. But I'm going to find out. Come on, Dr. Watson. We're going places. I want to speak to Inspector Guild.
Man to man, Mr. Charles. Are you working on this case?
Man to man, Inspector Guild, I'm not.
But he's interested.
I don't mind telling you I'd rather have you in on the right side.
You mean not on the Winans side?
I'd rather have you working with us than against us.
So would I.
It's a bargain, then. Do you know about the case?
I read the papers. What about the suicide?
Oh, that's a phony. The men didn't even have to go down.
Yeah, I thought it might be. From now on, they're going to think that every thin man over 6 feet with white hair is Winans.
Do you think that Winans did it?
Looks like he planned something. He shut up his apartment and his shop. But there's nothing yet to clinch it.
50 will get you 100 that Winans didn't do it.
Who's your candidate?
I haven't got that far yet. I don't think that everything points to Winans. What about the alibis?
They're all okay. Mrs. Winant, the boy, Dorothy, Macaulay, even Morelli.
What about Jorgensen?
Oh, I'll check on that. Well, I'm afraid this is kind of dull for you, Mrs. Charles.
Dull? I'm sitting on the edge of my chair.
Frankly, I'm stunned. I don't know what to do next. What about you, Charles?
Me? No, but I've got a hunch.
What is it?
I got a call last night. I thought it was from a crank, but I changed my mind. Whoever it was knew something.
And I've got a feeling I'll hear from him again. What time is it?
Almost 10. Still waiting to hear from the crank?
And how? Here, give me that, quick. Hello? Yes? Ed? This is Nick Charles? Who? Can't hear you. I said I can't hear you. Have to speak louder.
I can't speak any louder. Hey, this is Al Nunheim again. You know, I called you last night. Hey, listen. Are you still interested in that proposition? Yeah, huh? All right, then. Now, here's the dope. And get this straight. The man who killed Julia Wolf...
What's this, Gil? You think Wynant killed Julia Wolf and Nunheim?
Right.
Why?
2 reasons. First off, Mimi Wynant came across with a watch chain. She plucked off Julia's body.
Oh, she did, huh?
It belonged to Clyde Wynant.
Yeah. What's the second reason?
A pip. The bullet that killed Nunheim came from the same gun.
That's all right, Inspector.
All right, it's perfect. Clyde Wynant is guilty of both those murders.
Maybe.
What?
50 will still get you 100. I say Wynant's innocent.
You can say what you want, but I'm spreading a dragnet for that guy over every town in these United States. And I'll get him, too.
Calling all cars, cover all roads, leaving city. Pick up Clyde Wynant, tall, thin man, last seen wearing dark blue suit. Clyde Wynant, thin man.
You think they'll find him, Nick? He must be in New York.
Probably is.
Oh, it's getting me down. I saw Dorothy today.
Yeah? What?
She's broken off her engagement.
What for?
Oh, don't ask me. She was a little hysterical. Something about not wanting to ruin her fiancé's life. Daughter of a murderer and all that.
Oh, poor kid. Well, see you later, darling.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going to take us for a walk.
He's just been for a walk.
We're going sightseeing, aren't we, Esther?
Nick, what are you up to?
I've got a hunch. I'm going down to look at Wynant's shop. I want to find out why it's closed.
Why shouldn't he close it? He went away.
He went away lots of times when I knew him, but he never closed his shop. I've got a hunch something's up.
You mean he might be hiding there?
I don't know, but this thing's got my goat. I've got to find out.
Nick, I won't have you going down there at this hour of the night. He's a crazy man. He might kill you.
He'll be all right. I've got Asta to protect me.
All right, go on. Go on. See if I care. But it's a dirty trick bringing me all the way to New York just to make me a widow.
You wouldn't be a widow long.
You bet I wouldn't.
Not with all your money.
You dog.
Goodbye, darling.
Nicky, take care of yourself, won't you?
Sure I will.
Don't say it that way. Say it as if you meant it.
Why, I believe the little woman cares.
I don't care. I'm just used to you, that's all.
Sure. So long, darling. Come on, Asta. Go on, go on.
Goodbye. And call me, darling, please. I'll be waiting to hear from you. Asta, if you let anything happen to him, you'll never wag that tail again.
Nick is on his way to Clyde Wynant's deserted laboratory. In a dark and desolate section of the city, his cab veers sharply around the corner and pulls up in front of a gloomy, old, rickety building.
Hey, mister. Are you sure this is the place you wanted?
Looks like it. Come on, Asta, jump. How much owe you?
$1.20. Or do you want me to wait?
No, never mind.
Oh, that's good. You know, this ain't no neighborhood to be in at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to get out of here.
There you are.
Thanks. Hello.
Come on, Asta. Come on, up the steps with you.
Hello.
Nora, what are you doing here?
I beat you down. I want to go with you, Nick.
Now, listen.
No. You're not going in that place alone, and that settles it. Now get out that skeleton key of yours and open that door. I'm here to stay.
All right. Come on. Yes.
Darling. Nice neighborhood Winans picked out for his laboratory. I can almost hear the chains rattling. Do you believe in ghosts, Nicky?
There we are. Come in. Be quiet.
Nick, it's dark in here.
I've got a flashlight. When I close the door. Master, shut up. Go on, Nora.
Which way?
Straight ahead. Till you get the layout of the place.
Looks awfully big to me. You can't even see into the corners.
Don't let the shadows frighten you.
Who's frightened?
Hold it.
What's the matter?
This looks like Winans' work table.
More like a slab in a morgue. Look, Nick. There's a cement floor all around.
Yeah, probably a lot of weight goes on that table. Come on.
Where to now?
There's an old desk over there on the wall. I want to take a look at it.
What do you expect to find?
Oh, if I knew what I'd find, I wouldn't be...
Nick. Look, Nick.
There's a loose board, I guess.
It sounds like somebody was walking over that way.
Oh, just your imagination. There's no one in here but us.
No. What about Wyman? This is his workshop. I could keep hiding out here. What's that?
Asta. Asta, come here. She's scratching on the cement around the work table. Asta. Stop it. Stop it. Did you hear what I said, Asta?
Nick, look at him. He's after something. I've seen him scratch the ground like that when he was looking for...
Asta. Nora, look. Look at this. New cement. Listen.
Nick.
It's hollow. I wonder if I could find something to dig it up.
There's an iron bar on the table I just saw. Really?
Ah, good. Now, if I just knock a hole in that cement, we'll find out what's under there.
Oh, Nick, I'm scared.
Asta, quiet. You keep away, Nora.
Asta, come here.
Once more. There she goes. I'm through the cement. Asta, get away from there. Get away.
Nick, what is it? What's he after?
Let's get Inspector Gill here.
What's under there?
A body. Must have been there for weeks.
Oh, Nick.
Wait a minute. Wait now, you reporters. You'll get your story as soon as I can give it to you. Until then, you gotta leave us alone. Come on now, get out. Those reporters are enough to drive a guy nuts. Well, you were right, Nick. It was a body. A skeleton, rather, buried in lime. I wonder what Winan had against this one.
Did you find any clothes?
Yeah, but no identification on them. Just a silver belt buckle with the initials, DWR.
DWR. Who was that?
I got a good idea. That case you worked on. The guy who threatened to kill Winan. What was his name?
Oh, Rosewater.
Yeah, Rosewater. He said Winan tried to steal an invention, didn't he?
Yes, but we figured it was just blackmail.
Just the same, Winan wouldn't mind having him out of the way, would he? And according to the doc, the body's been there at least a couple of months.
That's just about the time Winan closed the shop.
Right.
Did you put the skeleton under the fluoroscope yet?
Half an hour ago. We found the bullet he was killed with and something in the leg bone. An old piece of shrapnel.
Shrapnel?
Yeah. Why?
Shrapnel in the leg bone. He probably limped.
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. Well, so long, Inspector. I'm going to pick up my wife, take her home. It's been a long night.
So long. Give her my best, will you?
Right.
Where are we going, Nick?
Back to the hotel, my sweet. Pack our bags and take a nice trip somewhere.
A trip? Oh, no.
My soul, woman, I gave you 3 murders and you aren't satisfied.
I want you to stay and find one.
I did find him.
What do you mean?
He was down in the shop.
Nick.
It was his body that was buried there.
Winan's body?
Yep.
But they all said it was Rosewater.
Oh, that's what they think.
What makes you so sure it's Winan's body?
Several things. Clothes, for instance. They were carefully preserved. The body was just as carefully destroyed. The person who killed him counted on one thing, that all skeletons look alike.
Well, don't they?
Sure. But I remember that Winan had some shrapnel in his shin. They found it under the fluoroscope.
How long has he been dead?
Couple of months, anyway.
Then he couldn't have committed those other murders.
Smart girl.
Why not dead? Does Dorothy know?
No, nobody but you. I didn't even tell Gil.
Why not?
I want to lie low till I get the whole dope. I don't want to go off half-cocked.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to get the real murderer. I've got an idea. Want to see me take him?
Yes.
You got a nice evening dress?
Oh, I've got a Lulu. Why?
I'm going to give a party, a dinner party. Everything from Russian caviar to camembert cheese, an orchestra behind the palms, subdued lighting.
What is this?
And I'm going to invite all of the suspects.
The suspects? They won't come.
Oh, they'll come. I'll have Gil issue the invitations.
Nick, who's going to be there?
Everybody. You, me, Dorothy, her ex-fiancé,
His name's Andy.
Right. Macaulay, Mimi, Gilbert, Jorgensen, and Morelli.
Oh, darling, what a lovely party.
All right, what's the big idea?
Good evening, everybody.
Mr. Charles, what is the meaning of this?
The meaning of what, Mimi?
Why were we all rounded up like common criminals and brought to the sinner?
Yes.
To eat, Mimi, and talk. Will everyone please be seated? Dorothy here.
Thank you.
Andy, next to her, please.
Oh, but Mr. Charles,
Please.
Very well.
Mimi on the other side of Andy. Mr. Jorgensen over there, please.
Very kind, Mr. Charles.
Not at all. Mr. Macaulay next.
Of course.
Morelli?
What?
Right where you are.
Now, say, listen.
Sit down. And Gilbert, you can sit just opposite Mama.
Mr. Charles, I have a theory.
We'll listen to it later. Inspector Guild, you and your men will stand by the door, please.
Sure.
Fine. Now, Nora, if you'll sit here by me.
Delighted, Mr. Charles.
Pleasure, Mrs. Charles. Now, we're all ready to begin.
Will you please pass the celery, Mrs. Weiner?
No, I will not. I demand to know why we are here.
Before dinner? All right. I've got some important news. I've seen Winan.
You mean that,
level?
Certainly, I mean it.
That's nothing. I saw him myself.
Yes, Mimi? When?
Last night. He came to see me in my apartment.
Oh, did he? What did he say?
He didn't say very much. He wanted to know how I was and how the children were.
I'm afraid you're lying, Mimi. You see, I really did see Wynant last night.
Are you kidding?
No.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you hold him?
Because I found out for certain that he didn't commit the murders.
Well, you know that's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Let him have his say.
Thank you. Morelli, you knew Julia. Was she jipping Wynant? Taking dough on the sly?
Well, she don't say she is, but I figure she is, yeah.
Thank you. Now I'll tell you why I know Wynant didn't commit those murders. 3 months ago, Wynant found out that Julia was cheating him and was splitting with some man. He went to find the man, and he did. That man was desperate. He knew that he was caught dead to rights. And at prison, staring him in the face, he took the only way out. He killed Wynant.
Oh,
It's terrible to tell you this way, Dorothy, but your father's dead.
dead.
He's been dead for 3 months.
Dead. Oh.
Oh, darling, don't cry.
Oh.
Oh, I know it's terrible, but isn't it really better this way?
Oh, Andy. Andy.
You'd better take her home, Andy.
Yes, of course. Come on, darling.
Let them out, Inspector.
Oh, open up. Oh, don't cry, darling, please. It'll be all right now.
Okay, yeah, Big Daddy.
Oh, this is absurd. How can Clyde be dead? You said yourself you saw him last night.
So I did. I saw him lying buried in his shop.
You mean that body?
Was Wynant.
Perfectly absurd.
And the murderer is right here in this room tonight. He's sitting at this table.
What? Who is it?
I don't know. But I thought if we all had a little get-together, we might be able to find out. I'll tell you as much as I know. This murderer is a very clever man. He planned the whole thing beautifully. After he killed Wynant, he wired Macaulay, using Wynant's name, and told him to shut up the shop. Then he took Wynant's body and buried it in the shop with another man's clothes to throw us off the track. He even put a belt buckle with an R on it, hoping that we'd think it was Rosewater, an old enemy of Wynant's who dropped out of sight years ago. Morelli.
Yeah?
Would you mind holding your knife the other way? You're worrying Gilbert.
Oh, all right.
Nick, if that knife is missing, I'll look for it in your back.
I'll help you look. Well, after our hero had killed Wynant, he got a brilliant idea. He realized that he and Julia could still collect money. Wynant was supposed to be on a trip. No one knew where. So our dinner guest wrote letters to Macaulay, signing Wynant's name, so that Macaulay would continue to send the money to Julia. He even telephoned Macaulay. Do you remember Macaulay? The first day that you came to see me. He telephoned that he was in town.
Oh,
it must have been Wynant. I should have known if it weren't his voice.
Oh, he was clever about that. He called when you were out. Now, that same afternoon, Julia telephoned him. She said that you were coming, Mimi, to ask about Wynant. He got terrified. He was afraid that Julia would break down and tell. So he went to Julia and killed her. And left Wynant's watch chain in her hand.
Mimi, what is the story about that?
If I ever get... I don't know. Guy that did that to Julia, it makes sense.
I hope you're well.
Quiet, please. His plan was still working beautifully. The only hitch was a man named Nunheim who had found out something. So our hero bumped him off, too. But our hero overlooked just one item. The telegrams, wires, and telephones were all very well, but no one had seen Wynant. So the murderer picked on poor Mimi here to strengthen his case. Mimi is the only one at this table who can tell us who the real murderer is. Mimi? Who was it who told you to say you'd seen Wynant?
Nobody told me. I did see him.
What did he pay you, Mimi, to stick to that story?
It isn't a story. It's true. I did see Wynant. He's not dead.
You're lying, Mimi. But then you'd do anything for money. You were getting a good price for saying you saw Wynant.
I'm not going to stay here and be insulted.
Sit down. You're getting a good price, Mimi. But don't forget this. 2 other people were in with him on this deal. Julia and Nunheim. When he thought they might spill something, he bumped them off. You ought to know darn well that he's not going to take any chances on you. What do you want to do, be next on his list?
No.
And who is he? Who paid you that money?
Macaulay.
Oh, you dirty little... I think that'll hold him.
Oh, boy, what a wallet. Hey, nice work, Mr. Charles.
There's your man, Inspector. Mr. Macaulay.
I can't believe it.
What do you want me to do, wrap him up in cellophane? Pick him up and get him out of here.
Come on, boys. Grab him.
Let me get a hand up.
Nick, you took him. I knew you would.
Yeah, another case like this now develop into a prize fighter.
Oh, Nicky, you're grand. You're glorious.
I'll bet you say that to all the boys.
Well, that's that. The story of the Thin Man with William Powell and Myrna Loy. I'm going to get them back out here in a minute to talk to you. As you know, these broadcasts from the Lux Radio Theater are quite an event in Hollywood. And among our many friends here tonight is one of the greatest stars of the silent pictures. I admired her from afar when she was doing such magnificent spectacles as Cleopatra, and I was just an extra. Today, she is the wife of one of our leading film directors. I've known her for many years as a most charming and gracious lady, and I want you to meet her now, Miss Theda Bara.
Thank you, Woody. Our Hollywood entertainment has certainly developed amazingly since I was making pictures.
Yes, everything's different now.
As you and I know, before pictures grew up and started to talk, we had to translate all emotion into pantomime. Oh, you may think you have trouble today, but do you remember the difficulties we had working with a split screen? We had to express jealousy, hate, love, or devotion, all in pantomime, and at the same time keep pace as the director guided us with a 1, 2, 3, 4, just as a metronome guides a pianist.
Pantomime has always been one of the greatest of arts. And may I say, Miss Bara, I have always thought that you were one of the greatest masters of that art.
Oh, you're very kind, Woody. We worked awfully hard making those pictures. For instance, in making Cleopatra, we had no research department at the studio. I worked myself for months with the curator of Egyptology at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. It was great fun, though.
I understand, Miss Bara, you're going to make some radio appearances.
Yes, I am. And I'm also going to do some motion picture work.
No, that's good news.
I'm considering an offer now, running through scripts and ideas. Oh, I just hope everyone will be as happy about another Theda Bara picture as I am. The public has been very good to me in the past.
And I know they'll be awfully glad to see you again. I'm sure it'll be a great thrill not only seeing you, but hearing your voice. Thanks, Miss Bara, for joining us tonight.
I'm glad I could. Good night.
Kids, you did a great show. You're really marvelous.
What, no retakes?
No property man.
Yeah, Bill. I'll bet you're glad my property man isn't here. Remember how he used to swat you with a broomstick when you weren't hurrying on the set fast enough?
Yes, that Harry Alvarez is a great fellow. He's the most independent cuss in the whole picture business.
Listen, Bill, that fellow was with me in the Arctic when we made Eskimo. He was with me in African jungle when we made Trader Horn. And after a man has handled crocodiles, sharks, pythons, and polar bears, you can't expect him to be afraid of a mere actor.
There's only one thing I can never understand about that picture, Eskimo, Woody. How did they tell you from the polar bears?
He wore rubbers.
I wore a hat.
It must be pretty tough, Woody, when you have to plow through swamps, jungles, tropics, and the Arctic. I suppose when you call up and say you're going on location, your wife says, oh, yes, location. Do you want the snowshoes or the snakebite medicine?
Unfortunately, she doesn't say that. When I say I'm going on location, she just says, you are not. Incidentally, I thought all about that traveling, I thought all about it when the Lux soap people asked me to do this broadcast. Isn't it funny? In the Arctic, soap is something they like to eat. In the tropics, they use soap for money. And here in Hollywood, soap is something that keeps the stars beautiful.
Now, I can see that it keeps Myrna beautiful, Woody, but when are you going to start using that?
Nice talk. What I do use is that. And that's no kidding. Anyway, thanks for coming up, kids.
Goodbye, Woody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Our cast of characters tonight: Nick, William Powell; Nora, Myrna Loy; Mimi, Minna Gamble; Macaulay, Porter Hall; Dorothy, Barbara Luddy; Gilbert, William Henry; Chris Jorgensen, Brett Morrison; Julia Wolfe, Margaret Brayton; Inspector Guild, Thomas Jackson; Morelli, Wally Mayer; Nunheim, Ernie Adams. Our director, W.S. Van Dyke, and our stars, William Powell and Myrna Loy, appeared through courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, as did Mr. William Henry, and Porter Hall through the courtesy of Paramount. The musical director of this program, Mr. Louis Silvers, appears through the kindness of 20th Century Fox. And now, here is your producer, Mr. W.S. Van Dyke.
Thanks to all of you in the cast. You did a swell job. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, the Lux Radio Theater is going to have a great show for you, and believe me, Al Jolson and Ruby Keeler are going to be here to appear in Burlesque. It was a smash hit on Broadway and then a great moving picture, and now it's going to make a marvelous radio vehicle for Al Jolson and Ruby Keeler. I think you'll like it. Mr. Cecil B. DeMille will return to the Lux Radio Theater in time to produce Burlesque, and you know he'll give you a great show. I've enjoyed being with you all, and good night.
Well, there you have it. Was it what you expected it to be? I found it quite entertaining and fun. Also, there was enough action and suspense to term it a detective drama and less of a comedy. However, I found the banter between Powell and Loy to be quite charming. I hope that you enjoyed it as well. That was episode number 645, and I want to thank the people at Lux Radio Theater, and of course, you guys for listening. Please do reach out and tell me what you thought of today's show. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.